Hey there, good evening. It is 6:07 p.m., November 18th, Tuesday evening, and I am winding down. I'm actually getting ready to jump in the shower because I would say today was a pretty long day. I got a lot done. I'm actually quite proud of myself. Now, earlier today, I did make a video and I posted it. And then I ended up having to pick up some water because, like, we try to make sure that we drink bottled water. And although there's really no guarantee on how clean water really is, I just feel better getting bottled water. So I got water, and this is like the first time I actually got water from across the street where I live. It's actually kind of like a catty corner from where I live. And so, I'm actually quite pleased with myself because, carrying all those bottles is kind of like, difficult, but hopefully I'll be able to resume my water service at some point. Anyway, so today I ended up taking the bus in to fill out a job application. Now, I found that a little bit, tiresome only because, usually you can complete these things online, but I did go in and I completed it. And it looks like I have another thing I need to follow up on in one of my emails tomorrow. I do not like, I think I've expressed, what being a victim of human trafficking has done to me. It's like, it's just something that I have to do. And, what I'm trying to say is that looking for work should not be scary. It should not be intimidating. It should not be something that you dread doing. You know what I mean? But, I've been so used to dealing with, the nonsense of what a lot of these people had started. And so I kind of wanted to go into a little bit more and explain more. Okay. Today, I mentioned my property management company, and the reason why I did is because I got a notice in the first thing in the morning, okay, earlier in the morning. I don't even know what time it was. It must have been a little bit around 8 o'clock or so. And I know that I've been making a lot of videos talking about, some of the bullying tactics that I've had to endure. And this includes not being picked up by the bus stop, dealing with rude store clerks and stuff like that. And I have noticed throughout these months, I would say within the last 6 months, every time, there's like this sort of ebb and flow in the sort of behavior from the rental department. Okay. And even though it's very subtle, I notice it. Like, for example, if we're late on the rent, then they get these like they kind of it's very subtle, but there's a form of bullying there. And the reason why is because, like I said, if you're a victim of human trafficking, okay, gang stalking specifically, even though they're the same thing basically, okay, guaranteed your landlord is not in it. Guaranteed, okay, guaranteed. Now, see, a lot of people, what they do is they get together and they don't really see what's wrong with what they're doing. And I'll tell you what it is. It's because people are acting out certain things or spying on behalf of another person. This is why I'm talking about the stalking element. Now, like, I understand that the kids from 533 played an integral role in my gang stalking. So, and I would say kids from high school also assisted them and whatever. So, I personally do believe, and I have every reason to believe, that they were in communication with my property management company. And so when I'm standing up for myself, I'm standing up for myself because I have the right to live a quality life. Okay, so this is one of the reasons why I've been making videos. I've been, talking about the injustice because I want to go back into the workforce and have my life back to where it was before. And I have the right to do that. But see, a lot of times people will perceive you standing up for yourself as she's being defiant when I don't have any reason to listen to any of these things that people have to say in the first place. The message I'm getting right now is something about living for myself. I don't have anyone else to live for. Okay. And the message I'm getting right now is something about Vladimir Putin. So I do understand there's a lot of people in this community, like, for example, and I'm not saying that this is true or not. Okay. But I will say I'm pretty sure that my what do you call it, rental company was a part of my gang stalking. So what I'm saying right now is that I do not want to see any more flyers on my, I know what the fees are. Okay. I know what the fees are. So going forward, I do not expect to be communicated with by, wait a sec, the girl, Alyssa. I do not, and like I said, if I'm late on the rent, I understand sometimes they send emails and stuff like that. I do not want anything else being sent to me. Okay. I do not want anything else being sent to me. See, when I talked about the goal of human traffickers is to get somebody either arrested, institutionalized, or go homeless, when I noticed that they were going they talked about throwing a fee onto the additional amount of the rent, right? And see, who is to say, and I'm not saying that this was a plan or not, but see, they like to play games within this network. So they'll make sure they know where everybody banks, they know where you bank, they know where your rental place is. So who's to say they could be holding my son's check, just so that we would not be able to pay the rent. So then they end up charging a fee, and then they would insist on throwing us out of the house. I'm not saying that that's what they're doing, but that is certainly a common gang stalking tactic. See, the thing is that there should not be any conspiring. The thing is like, for example, you might have an employer, you might have a rental company, and you may have like a cable company or whatever. Okay, so your job might contact your rental company to spy on you, or maybe put some surveillance material in there. And I will tell you that's 100% illegal. The intuitive message I'm getting right now is I am going to be getting more assistance from employers as far as getting back into the workforce. I'm very grateful for that. Okay. I understand a lot of people, they get together because they're friends, or they're taking instructions or sides of an argument. Okay. For their friend. Okay. Like, I do believe, like, the kids of 533, everything that I do, they want to be involved in it. And like I said, I'm making a big, distinction between me and them. I'm drawing a line. They have abused me for too long. I have, been severely affected. I'm 54 years old. These people have robbed me out of a life. Okay. So I'm trying to pick myself back up. Now, let's just say, for example, the people who work over at my property management company, because this has been going on for such a long time, they actually have a bond with the people who were abusing me. So I personally feel as though it's an insult for them to sit here and put that on my door, and I do not want to see it anymore. Okay. And do I believe that these are strategically done as some sort of retaliation? Yeah, I do. Okay. So, like I said, just going forward, I have no interest in speaking with these people other than, handling my business. And you will get your money on Friday. Do not communicate with me ever again. Period. Okay. The message I'm getting right now is that, I do know that a lot of people recognize that the Swan Song Manifesto is associated with me. A lot of people also talking about this issue. Like I said, I didn't know much about the whole Vladimir Putin thing until he started appearing in my third eye. But people, they want to know tabs on me. They want to always, like, know what I'm into or whatever. And, but when you start obstructing people or creating problems for people, like, for example, and your landlord and your employer get together and they start conspiring and try doing things. The thing is, I pay the landlord rent. Okay, so what they're supposed to do is they're supposed to collect my rent. If I request a repair or whatever, they come by and they fix it or whatever. There is not supposed to be any other activity other than that. And I understand it's difficult for some people. Some people are extremely tempted to spy on other people, to conspire on other people. What that is illegal. Okay, and especially if you're doing it on behalf of another person. So going back to the issue of bus 45, when this person didn't pick me up, let's give you an example of why they may not have understood that this is human trafficking. Let's just say, for example, somebody contacted the Get Transit system, and they said, okay, Maria's going to be at the bus stop today. I don't want you picking her up because I don't like what she's wearing. Okay, so this person, the bus driver, does not pick me up. Why? On behalf of another person. I have every right to be picked up. But the point is that this person, the bus number 45, is stalking somebody on behalf of another person. This is what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is a good example of human trafficking. Stalking is involved. Anytime you do something on behalf of a perpetrator, a stalker, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm trying to make it as plain for people to understand. Stalking activity in the workplace, I would say, is heavily responsible for many people losing their jobs because it incites what you call it bullying behavior. It incites bullying behavior, just like, at other places where I've worked, like when the girl at my last job, the office manager, right? She was like, "Oh yeah, great, we're gonna be getting uniforms." I felt very insulted by the whole thing because she knew, she was stalking me on behalf of somebody else for the company. I have no interest in wearing a uniform, and I found it very offensive. Okay, and from that point on, I just completely lost interest in that person. The intuitive message I'm getting right now is, yes, I was adopted, therefore I am not responsible or obligated for anyone other than myself. Okay. Also, I'm very grateful that employers are going to be accommodating me. I am a victim of human trafficking. Now, this issue probably happens to a lot of people. And there's a lot of people who just do not find, I get it, a lot of people do not find their jobs fun. They do not. And see, if you take away the element of spying and, conspiring against other people, then people will probably lose interest in their job, okay? Find interest in something else, which you're doing is illegal, okay? Anyway, so the other message I'm getting is that I talked about me having the rightful freedoms that I'm supposed to have. This includes me having guest on Monday Merriment if I do choose to continue it. Now my main goal right now is to get to work, go back to work. But see, I can make Monday Merriment episodes on Sundays or throughout the week when I come home. Okay, so it's like if I do go back with Monday Merriment, then I could definitely have guests. And I'm angry that these people were acting as if I needed their permission. I do not need anyone's permission, especially anybody who was a former employer. They had nothing to do with my work. Okay, like I said, employers are only responsible. I mean, employers only have so much control. And there used to be a time where employers could actually bully people and do all kinds of things. This is what I'm talking about, employment law. Okay, that a lot of people do not understand. Okay, it is illegal for employers to do the stuff that they're doing. Okay, so hopefully in the future, if I do revive Monday Merriment, if I meet people, then I will definitely have them on there. And of course, I would love to have Vladimir Putin on my Monday Merriment, or want to do some sort of project with him. Now, mind you, I am rather low budget, right? Because I'm a woman person. But hopefully throughout as we go forward, I will meet other people who have better equipment and that kind of stuff. That would be really cool. Okay, but I'm not afraid to just like go ahead and crank out videos using PowerPoint or whatever. I get by. Okay, but an upgrade would be good. Okay, also I know that throughout my targeting, what I was doing was these people were trying to limit my rights. Okay, and they do this a lot through gang stalking activity. This comes from hogging up my YouTube channel, as well as people bullying me based on the things that I buy and the places I shop. I have every right to go wherever I want to. The intuitive message I'm getting right now is that things are working out for my highest good. Meaning, like, I know they used to get pissed off if I went to places like Trader Joe's. Now, I go to like Walmart most of the time, but yeah, I like Trader Joe's. You know why? Because it's inexpensive. I don't know why they had it in their mind that Trader Joe's was so expensive. The reason why people like Trader Joe's is because you can get some pretty fine, nice stuff. Some of it's imported, okay, but it's at a reasonable price. Okay, and so, I don't know what they were complaining about. I find it offensive that you have these coworkers that are stalking you in places like, where you shop and stuff. Stalking is the heart of the human trafficking program, okay? And when it comes to workplaces, they should be stalking free, okay? Now, like I said, let's just say, for example, Vladimir Putin was like trying to spy in on me or something like that. Whatever. I'm sure he's not going to incite any sort of bullying tactics. But what I'm saying is like siblings and stuff like this, that people who come into the workplace and make other people say things or do things so that they can communicate with you indirectly is inappropriate. And I will tell you, it will always end up in a negative way, always. Okay, I cannot tell you how many people that I ended up working with that I will never ever talk to again, never acknowledge ever again. I want nothing to do with them, all because they wanted to carry a message for somebody else. Okay, I'm not, I don't appreciate it. Like I said, I don't want any stalking behavior. Because I understand people who are trying to talk to me are usually people who've tried to hurt me. Okay, and I am who I am. I am making a distinction. I'm standing up for myself. Okay, and I'm very angry at the people who were trying to force me into a life that I did not appreciate. Okay, and like I said, that's one move that you make. We're done. We're done. Okay, because I love who I am. And that might be strange for a lot of people to understand, but I love who I am. And C.B. Berganza loved who he was. He loved his belief system. He loved what he stood for. Okay. And if you don't like who you are and who you stand for, then you may need to make some changes. Okay. But you're not going to sit here and bother me. Okay. I know the law. Anyway. So I think that's pretty much it. Okay. Today I wore this shirt, right? Just a very casual shirt, And earlier I wore it to the store, but I wore it with like a coat. And then when I went in for the to fill out my application, no one really spoke to me or anything. I was just filling out my application. I just threw it on like a regular what do you call it, suit jacket. And then I did wear my rain boots into the place, but I wasn't sure if that area that was located was flooded or not, because I know we had a lot of rain. So I did wear my rain boots, okay? But you know what? I guess it is what it is. I don't think I looked bad or anything. But yeah, I do think it's important to look nice when you go into the to a workplace or your a particular workplace. And that's my work style. That's my work ethic, okay? And you know what? I'm sorry that people were going to bully me out of it. And you know, it did create a lot of animosity. But I'm making myself very clear. I know that I was a victim of human trafficking. I know that the kind of people that get involved in your trafficking, your targeting, and this is one of the reasons why I mentioned my landlord, my rental company. And I'm not trying to create any hard feelings. I just want it to be understood. Like, do not mess with me, okay? Do not mess with me, because I am not somebody who takes being trafficked lightly. Okay, we're talking about individuals who created trauma in my life for a very long time, and I feel as though people who do things, little slights to me, is just trying to continue that argument. Okay, so don't try me ever again. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video, and I will be back with another video sometime later. I'm looking forward to getting into my pajamas and just kind of hanging out for the rest of the night. I think I've been like pretty busy because I walked to the store earlier this morning. Yes, I actually walked to the store this morning, and then I walked back home from the store this morning, and then I walked up yes, I'm somebody, I have a lot of energy. I mean, I can do it. That doesn't mean I want to, but I'm somebody, if I have to, I will, okay? And I think that my work ethic is very strong. Like, you know, if I had to, I would take a bike to work. This is the kind of person I am. You know, whereas a lot of people are like, well, I don't have a car. And they look for excuses as to why they can't work. I have never came up with an excuse for anything. Okay, and I've never asked anybody for anything. I'm somebody who is 100% self-sufficient. So anyway, and this is how I choose to carry on. I do the community seems to believe that I'm expecting some sort, or I deserve some sort of compensation. Like I said, and it's kind of funny. I did get a vehicle. Well, we're going to be fumigating it, which I'm laughing right now. We're going to be fumigating it this weekend, and you know, I got need to take care of some issues relating to the vehicle before it's fully functional. But I'm just saying is, it's like, you know what? This is what I'm talking about. Employers who think that it's okay to bully. Employers who think that it's okay to be active in human trafficking. Employers that think it's their right to tell you where to shop and to control you and to change your life when they are not in that position to do that. If they don't like who you are, then don't hire them. It's that simple, okay? You don't sit here and try to bend and shape and mold somebody. It is disrespectful. And my experience with these employers has been an absolute nightmare, okay? And I'm just I want to make educational videos so that people will understand that what these things mean. Like, people talk about sexual harassment, but they don't really get it. It's like they don't get it, okay? The thing is, you don't need to be making comments about people and their bodies and what they look like and how they are and this sort, because you're inciting, you know, gossip, you're inciting tension, you're inciting everything. People, you know, this is what I'm saying. It's like there's too many people who do not understand or grasp the concept of what they're supposed to know. And I'm tired of it, okay? And I'm somebody who's an example of it. So anyway, I'm wrapping up this video. It's going to be pretty short. I'm looking forward to just getting to bed tonight. And tomorrow I've got some things I want to follow up on. But for the rest of the week, I'm probably going to be stuck in my house. And, um, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna be stuck in my house, which I want to be. Okay. At this point, you know, I was complaining about being stuck in the house the last few days. I did get to go out. It was very beautiful, and it did get cold on my way back at home. So, right now, I am just feeling like I had enough time outside. I'm content with it, and I just want to sit around tomorrow with my little coffee and maybe make a video or two. And also, I want to finish doing some arts and crafts. Okay, so I'm gonna just kind of take it easy for the rest of this week, and I'm gonna be back with another video sometime later. Take care. Bye bye.